Hey guys, what is up? It is Cedar Flags here, and today I will be counting down what I think are the top 10 B&M or Bolliger and Mabillard inverted roller coasters. Now, this is of course my opinion, so you guys could judge all you want in the comments section. Tell me what your opinions are. Now, let's get started. At number 10, we have Talon at Dorney Park. Now, this roller coaster looks amazing. You know, I have not ridden this roller coaster, but this roller coaster, again, looks amazing. In my opinion, it's very underrated. You know, it seems like Hydra's talked about it a lot more because of that JoJo roll at the beginning, even though that this roller coaster looks better. So, you go up this lift hill, you go down a curve drop, and you go down all these elements that look extremely forceful. It looks like you could definitely gray out on those. And this amazing Immelman, and you just swerve around through the course. You go on a bunch of these helixes, these bank turns, these corkscrews. It looks like a very forceful and compact B&M invert. By the looks of it, it looks like a pretty amazing ride. At number 9, we just have the Batman clones. Now, I'm guessing a great majority of you guys have ridden this, and actually, I have not ridden any of the Batman clones, including Great White or any ride that's themed to it. Let me just say that these models look absolutely insane. They look very forceful, especially on that second half of the ride, during that corkscrew, during all those loops, during those turns. This looks like a beautiful B&M invert, and correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first B&M invert model, and I think the first was at Six Flags Great America. You guys could, again, correct me in those comments. But again, this ride looks extremely forceful, especially with those two vertical loops and those corkscrews at the end. Those turns look absolutely breathtaking. They look like they could make you gray out, actually. They look pretty sweet. But at number 8, we have Black Mamba at Phantasialand. Black Mamba, holy crap. This is a load of theming. And let's just say Phantasialand has some of the best roller coasters on Earth. It has Terran, it has Black Mamba, of course. And in 2018, they're coming out with a launched flying coaster, which looks really cool. But let's talk about the theming of this ride first. Throughout the ride, throughout the layout, when you look at the POV, you just see the ride swerving through buildings, in these old buildings, and you see these inversions going over and under and over and under. It looks like an insane ride. The vertical loop, the bank turns. This is also what I would call a longer ride, too. The second half of this ride is absolutely insane, too. Some of these rides just, slow down. This ride keeps going. It keeps swerving in through those buildings. It keeps transitioning throughout the layout. It just looks like an absolutely amazing ride, and this ride is definitely high up on my bucket list because of the theming, and because of the near-miss elements, and because of the absolute forces on this ride. It looks insane. Number 7 is Nemesis at Alton Towers. Now, I know a lot of people say never judge a book by its cover, and I have not gotten to ride this ride, but I could see 6 B&M inverts that are just a little better than this one. But this looks like an absolutely crazy ride. I really want to get on it because the pacing near the end of the ride looks like it's an easy 10 out of 10. It looks insane. Those fast transitions, those small inversions. I love how this is a terrain roller coaster too. When you go over those inversions, like the first corkscrew after the lift chain, that looks insane how it's so close to the ground and how it's after such a short drop, yet it goes so fast. This is the very definition of an amazing terrain roller coaster. Number 6 is the first one out of the 3 that I've ridden. It is Afterburn at Carowinds. This is a sweet little ride. This was the first ride I got to ride at Carowinds, and let's just say it was a real surprise for me. That first drop really took you away. I definitely put my hands up on that. That vertical loop is insane, and that Batwing is definitely my favorite part of the ride. When you go under the ground, and you just feel the mist splashing in your face. It's not as forceful as I thought it would be, but it is still an amazing ride. It is not the longest B&M invert, but I still enjoyed it to pieces. My third favorite ride at Carowinds, I definitely recommend it to everyone that goes to Carowinds. Starting off the top 5 is Raptor at Cedar Point. This is the second B&M invert that I have personally ridden. When I went down that first drop, I grayed out, and I was grayed out until the end of that 0G roll when I was in the front row. The front row of this ride is definitely the most forceful, and let me just say, this ride is so forceful, it will have you graying out. That vertical loop is insane. It pulls some serious positive Gs. And that Cobra roll, I would have to say that's not the best part of the ride, but it is still a fun inversion, set of inversions. You go into a mid-course brake run, you go into a set of corkscrews, and then one of my favorite parts of the ride, get this, you go into this large helix that makes your legs feel like jelly. It's insane. And this ride is totally insane. It is a long ride. It has a great duration and a great length. It has element after element after element. It doesn't slow you down. Definitely recommend it if you're going to the point. Now we're going into number 4, which is Montu at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Now I've had a couple friends that have ridden this, and they say that it is by far their favorite B&M invert. Now I have not gotten a chance to ride this, and it looks sweet, especially those corkscrews at the end of the ride. This ride overall looks insane. It reminds me of Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando, but an inverted version of that. And if you guys know me, you know how much I loved Kraken when I rode it. So let's talk about Montu. It kind of reminds me of a better version of Afterburn. It has, elements very similar to Afterburn, with a couple more in between. It has a set of loops and corkscrews after the mid-course brake one, which I love on a B&M. When they have all that stuff after the MCBR on a B&M, I love it. I am in love with that ride immediately. This ride is insane, and it really fits the exact definition of an old B&M. This is probably one of the best old B&Ms of all time, and everyone that has ridden it has said that this is an amazing B&M, and you cannot skip this whatsoever. Now we're moving into the top 3, and the top 3 is going to be a very surprising pick for all of you guys. It is Pyrenees, and why did I pick Pyrenees? Well, let's just say you got to look at the POV. The POV is insane. It basically looks like a better version of the Batman clones, like a hyped up, way better version. It would be like if Raptor and the Batman clones in Afterburn were to merge. They would basically create this. This has so many elements. It has 2 vertical loops. It has a Cobra roll. In the ride, when you watch the POV, it just never stops. And throughout the entire ride, you get these amazing elements that have to either put you out of your seat or sink you into your seat. It looks like an amazing ride, and, the color scheme isn't the best, but, let's not focus on the color scheme when you got a real kick-butt ride at this park. This looks like an amazing ride, and this is actually one of my top bucket list roller coasters. I don't know why. This just looks like an outstanding B&M invert. It looks sweet. It looks like it has very few to no flaws, and I definitely rate this a 10 out of 10. Coming at number 2 is my favorite first generation B&M, because you know what's going after this. But anyway, it is Katoon at Mirabilandia. This basically, take Raptor at Cedar Point. And this looks like Raptor on steroids. This looks like an insane ride. All of the elements look so forceful. Let's just talk about the overall ride after the Cobra roll. This is where it kind of changes. It goes into a couple helixes, goes into a couple corkscrews that go very fast. This ride just looks like the definition of a gray out machine. You just look like you could be graying out throughout the entire ride. And at the end of the ride, when you regain color, you just look at whoever you're sitting next to and scream, "Whoa, what did I just experience?" This looks so forceful. It looks like Kumba, in my opinion. It looks so forceful. It looks like it has jam-packed elements right after each other. It just looks like an upgraded version of every B&M invert, except for my number 1 pick. And my number 1 pick I have actually ridden. My number 1 B&M invert of all time is Banshee at Kings Island. Wow. This ride kicks every other B&M invert, in my opinion, to shreds. This is insane. B&M really pulled something off. It has Immelmans, dive loops, bat wings. You go up that lift hill, You go into this Immelman, or dive loop, you go into this vertical loop, you go into this 0G roll. You just went into 4 of these kick butt elements. You go a dive loop, a vertical loop, a 0G roll. You go into all of those, and you're like halfway through the ride. And usually on a B&M invert, you would slow down after this. You go through like a mid-course brake run, maybe another vertical loop, a couple corkscrews. No, you keep going on this one. You go into what is probably the biggest batwing on Earth. Look at that batwing. It's huge. When you're actually on this ride, you could really feel how huge that batwing is. You could also feel the forces as you go down, especially if you're sitting in the back. And at the bottom of that batwing, fun fact, due to the terrain, you're actually reaching the top speed of the ride when you go to the bottom of that batwing. It's a very long ride, and it's very spread out, even though that people like B&M inverts that are compact. This somehow is a very forceful ride, and my second favorite at Kings Island, actually. I prefer it over Mystic Timbers. The theming is really good, too, for what I would have to call a Cedar Fair park. Just by the looks, it's an insane ride. Once you actually get on it, it's so different. It's completely different from what you would expect. It is what you would expect in a B&M. This is one of the best B&Ms of all time, in my opinion. So, thank you for watching. That's my video. You know, comment down below what your opinion is. Comment down below what the best B&M invert is in your opinion. And comment down below what roller coasters on this top 10 list were on your bucket list. You guys could debate, you guys could do whatever you want, but if you haven't already, press that subscribe button. And Cedar Flags will be posting more videos. I am very sorry that I had a huge delay ever since the Steel Vengeance analysis. There was a little bit of school that happened. It started, you know, there was a bunch of homework at the beginning of the year. So Cedar Flags is going to start up again. I have so many notes written down. I have so many videos planned. And expect more videos coming your way from Cedar Flags. Bye.